It's sunny, 70 degrees out. It's t-shirt weather and beautiful. This is all the snow we got left in the yard, so I think we can finally call it a season on 22-23. I kind of feel like working on snowmobiles. Now we can take a look and go through basically every single sled and what needs fixing and what not for next year. So as can be expected with, vintage sleds, breakdowns are going to happen. I feel like this year's was a little bit excessive, to say the least. I guess let's start over here with the Sprint and we'll go around the horn. So this sled has never been on my channel, mainly because nothing's ever gone wrong with it. I picked it up pretty cheap, put gas in it, and went on my way. The feller I bought it from actually had a deer dealer prep it for storage, and he had it stored for like 10, 15 years and never really touched it until one day he decided to sell it. So I picked it up. That being said, I want to do a little maintenance to it this year. I've got the clutch pulled off just for routine maintenance and cleaning. It was actually pretty dirty on there, but overall it looks pretty good. The bushings in here are really tight, and having this blue number on here makes me think that this clutch is replaced or rebuilt at some point because they didn't come with this originally, I believe. So I want to keep this in as good a shape as possible. And I'm going to be putting new fuel line on it, filters, oil lines, and I'll probably clean the carb up because it starts a little hard. Overall, nothing major wrong with this one. The SRX is a little crammed in here, but I've still got a little tuning to do on the clutch. The mid-range just really isn't good on it at all. And a little bit left to do on the carbs, but I also have to put on new carb boots because I was futzing around with it and realized it wasn't leaking, but it's dry cracking, so better safe than sorry. Coming over to the Liquifier, this one's got some issues with it. I'm a little embarrassed, but I did put it in the drink this year. Basically what happened was I was getting a little rushed to get home because it was getting kind of late. I needed to start milking. I was only like 2 miles away, and there was a creek that wasn't frozen over. I tried to cross it and just chose a bad spot and put the skis right in the bank. I went over the hood, busted up the windshield on it, and kind of screwed up the hinge here. Nothing's too bad. I didn't really crack the hood anymore. This was all already like that. If you look at it, you can kind of tell I'm just noticing this. This ski's a little tweaked. It ain't nothing bad, but just kind of ticked up a little bit. I mean, you would never be able to tell if I didn't tell you. So I'm going to have to go ahead and straighten that out. Probably get a new windshield for it. Because, this one's basically shot. The hinge being all screwed up doesn't let the hood close perfectly anymore. Not that it really closed perfectly to begin with, but I do have a little tuning left to do with this one. I'm trying a red spring in there versus the standard purple spring. Maybe I can get a little more out of it on the top end. I know I said I had it figured out, but I can still only get to 60 miles an hour. And then the other thing is, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. My flywheel came loose again. So I'm basically going to have to take this whole side of the engine apart again, see if I can't tighten it down. Really, I'm probably just going to need to find a new flywheel for it. And then that brings us to the Trailfire LX, which has become the workbench as I've been working on the other ones. The engine's been running really good. Haven't really had any mechanical issues with it. It did flood out once, and that was like the last time I went to ride it. But what we're going to have to do this year is take this whole skid out because the shock absorber is completely shot on it. So I think what I'll do, basically the skid's just going to have to come out. I'll go through, grease up the pivots because, I should have done that before. I kind of neglected that. And I might do the bearings in the drive axle too, yet to be determined. Up next is the Ski Whiz, and this one's kind of unfortunate because it was a really good runner. But Those are some new old stock pistons, and I wonder what those are possibly for. Hmm. Oh yeah, it popped a hole in the PTO piston, just like they're known for. Basically, I was going in really deep powder and took it too hard, too long. The mag side was nice and cool. This side you couldn't even touch. It was just so hot. Hopefully the cylinder isn't in too bad of shape. It's steel lined, so I'm hopeful it'll be fine. But I got 6 pistons now, so I can blow them up for a little while at least. On the 400, nothing's really wrong with it anymore. I just had that video of putting the Mikuni carb on it. I think I got it dialed in pretty good. I need snow to really test it out more, so I'm not really going to do anything with this yet anymore this year. Oh yeah, there is this one thing. I was testing it and the seat decided to fly off on me one time, so I got to figure out a way to fasten it down because I'm not putting a new cover on this one. I don't like the sled that much. That brings us to the trusty old phaser. One thing that is kind of wrong with this is that not all the time, but a lot of times when you turn to the right, the headlights go out and all of the lights go out. So it's shorting out somewhere up under that fairing. And I knew that was an issue. I just never really got around to fixing it because you got to tear all these plastic parts off, and I didn't really feel like it. And then the other thing was this sled needs new fuel lines put in it. I did replace the fuel lines before, as you can see here, the sights. But this blue fuel line that I had that I put on it just isn't worth a damn, so I'll be putting some Tygon on it. Toss this stuff in the garbage. And then last but not least is the 76 Liquifier, which I blew the engine up in. Obviously, I haven't really progressed on putting the engine together, and I've still been accumulating parts to put on this sled. Hopefully that gets up on the docket pretty quick once I can actually stack my snowmobiles up in here. So I got to get 2 of them fixed to actually go up. The other thing with that is I need to rebuild the clutch because it's completely shot. The spider's just bad. The rollers ate into it. And I don't really feel like moving the phaser, but the suspension needs to be totally gone through as well. And I've got new Hyfex for it here, so we'll be going through that, probably put new shocks and stuff on it. I know you can't see it because of all the stuff on there, but the seat's pretty tore up, so I did get a new seat cover for it, and I'll be putting that on there too. But I think I'm going to replace the throttles and brake blocks with Fire Series blocks, and that way I can run those hot grip hand warmers and really make it a rider. Oh yeah, last but not least is the Cyclone. I almost forgot about it because it's in the other shed. This one burned out a headlight. I know it's not much, but I didn't feel like changing it at the time, so it didn't happen, but that's the last of them, if you ignore those. So yeah, lots of stuff to do this year, and I'll be making videos all along the way. If you feel like watching, consider subscribing, maybe hit the like on this video, and I'll see you in the next one.